Oh, ultra hair as well, you know. Jeez. Yo! What's up, guys? Lewis back with another video. Today we're going to do a Q and A. So basically, if you follow me on Instagram, I put on my story, I'm going to do a YouTube video, ask me questions, videography, photography related. Everyone threw questions at me, and now I'm basically just going to go through what the questions are. So I'm hoping that a lot of you guys are going to be at home. Obviously we're stuck, you already know the situation, I'm not going to have to go over it. I feel like this virus has now become like Voldemort and Harry Potter, like you can no longer say his name. Okay, so first question comes from Sir Schmitty for Voigenden. Sorry, I can't pronounce that. I'm guessing you're German, you drive a nice Audi. That is pretty sick. Yeah, his question is, what is your preferences on shoot and exposure? Do you try to balance each time? Do you try to balance it each time, or do you expose based on how you want to edit later? That's a very good question, Mr. Schmitty boy. Yeah, if it's a nighttime shot, I'm normally gonna try and underexpose it, maybe by like 1 or 2 stops. I do shoot with an Audi. I shoot with a Sony a7 III, and it's very good in low light. A lot of the time that I'm shooting night shots as well, I purposely underexpose to retain highlights depending on the situation. So like if I'm shooting a car or a model in front of a shop, I don't want to blow the lights out on the shot. I don't want to retain the highlights from the lights. I don't want to blow them highlights out. So I'll shoot underexposed so I can bring the shadows up, either it's from the car or from the model's face, and still able to like retain the highlights. If I'm exposing a shot for the daytime, say 12 PM, I will shoot it again a little bit underexposed. If it has the sky in, which is a lot of the time anyway, again, I'm trying to retain the highlights. I'm trying to keep the sky from being bright white, which is going to look crap in any picture. I'm trying to expose for the sky, because I know that because I shoot at a low ISO, say 50 or 100, normally 50, I can bring the shadows up in post. I'm going to throw an example on the screen now. So as you can see, this picture on the left was shot underexposed, and the picture on the right is how I've edited it. So as you can see, because I shot at a very low ISO, I was able to bring the shadows back, and I was able to keep the highlights retained as well, so they're not blown out, which obviously is a balanced picture. There's a time and place to shoot perfectly balanced. There's a time and place for you to not shoot underexposed. If you've got the right lighting, if you're in a building where there's no sky, you won't need to shoot too much underexposed, because there's no highlights to retain. There's no sky to retain, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's the first question. So yeah, there you go, Mr. Schmitty boy. There's your answer. Right, so the next question comes from Paris, and she says, what is your most favourite photo you've ever taken? That's a tough one, because I've taken so many. I know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 pictures up on the screen. 2 of them are going to be cars, and then 1 of them is going to be a model picture. So my favourite car picture, I reckon, is probably the first supercar shoot I ever did that was like paid, and it's this picture of this Lamborghini Huracan Performante, and I think I'm proud of it because it's my first ever like supercar shoot, and I was taking pictures and I was like, this is sick. Before that I was only taking pictures for fun. I wasn't really charging anyone. So yeah, shout out to Six Car Care for sorting that out. That was pretty sick. My next picture is a shot from a recent shoot with Jacob 7i. It's this one with the smoke. I'm pretty sure that picture on my page got over like 2,000 likes or something, which is crazy for me. We had a smoke bomb, we shot in a car park, and like how I colour graded it, I was just really happy with it. Like it was just a sick shoot, and I made a YouTube video from it. If you've not already seen that, you can watch that as well. That's on the channel. So my favourite non-car picture is this one I did from a shoot. We went to Adventure Golf or something, I think, in Leicester. It's like a little room, and then I basically added in the butterflies and like all the effects and stuff, but the light bulb was real. Yeah, so I can't really pick too many, but like there's my kind of top 3. So thanks for that one, Paris. So next one is from Harvey Miller UK, and he says, one thing you struggle with and videography related that isn't in the manuals or tutorials. Ooh, that's a tough one. That's one thing I struggled with, or still struggle with. Quite a lot, to be fair. I think it's more, when I first started with videography, it's more understanding shutter speed and like frame rates. That was difficult at the beginning, because I would shoot like how I would photography, which is like really high shutter speed, and like the frame rate would be like 24, and I'm like, Yeah, when you get into video, it's completely different. Like, you have to make sure you're double your shutter speed of what your frame rate is. So for example, if you're shooting at 24 frames, you need to be 1/50 of the shutter speed. As I got more into video, I realized that there's so much more that goes into it, like composition, white balance, lighting. There's so much, so I can't particularly pick out one thing. I'd say what I probably still struggle with a little bit with video is combining kind of all those sort of little things that you sometimes miss, like colour balance on set. So shooting for the right colour temperature in camera is going to help you instead of changing it in post, if that makes sense. Because I think there's a few shots that I've watched back on my videos and I realised, oh, I should have done that, or I used too much warp stabilizer on that clip. We've all done it. Yeah, a wide range of things, I'd say, Harvey. So yeah, cheers for that question, Harvey. So the next question comes from VizG10, and I actually used to PT him because I do personal training as well. It's my full-time job, and then this is obviously part-time. So his question is, do you follow or use any tutorials for editing? What's the best software to edit more natural pictures like portraits, landscape and wildlife, etc.? In my experience, I've only ever used Photoshop, Lightroom. For editing pictures for like portraits to wildlife, and obviously stuff like that's going to be completely different. I would try and keep the skin tones on a portrait how they were on set, but if I'm shooting for wildlife, I might, or like sceneries and landscapes, I might want the greens to be a little bit more a different hue, like a more warm. Change the hue of the green to more like a brownish or something, just to kind of add to my effects. I guess that's just my sort of style of editing. But in terms of what editing software I use, yeah, it's Lightroom CC. Lightroom Mobile's free, but I pay for Adobe Creative Cloud, so I use everything, Premiere Pro, After Effects, all that stuff. And then tutorials, yeah, like I probably still do now, every now and again watch tutorials like Peter McKinnon or Matt Hiapoya, Creative Ryan, Justin Adijo, YC Imogen, he's sick, I absolutely love his stuff he does. Yeah, loads. There's so many out there. There's so many tutorials. You can literally just type in Lightroom tutorial and you'll find hundreds of thousands of people that do it. So yeah, hopefully that's answered your question. So, next question comes from Hob Shoots. How long have you been doing photography and videography? And would you give any tips for people wanting to start YouTube? That's a sick question. Sick shots, by the way. It's got some really good photography. I've been doing media, I'd say 4 to 5 years. The first couple of years, maybe the first like 2 or 3 years, it was literally just a hobby. I'd literally just go out, take really bad pictures of stuff. The white balance was really yellow. It just looks disgusting. So like at the bottom of my media page, I deleted so much stuff because I was like, now I've got better. I'm at a place where I can see those mistakes. I've deleted like old stuff. So yeah, I've been in it for quite a few years, and then the past, I'd say two kind of pushing into 3 years, I started doing it more for paid stuff, so like paid shoots. Over that time, I went from a Canon 550D to a Canon 80D. Now I've got a Sony a7 III, and along the way I've accumulated lenses. I've got a Ronin M, a Ronin S, lighting. I've got a light stand here that you can't see. Like, I've invested more money as I've charged for my shoots. I put that money straight back into gear to make my business better. And then advice for people that want to start YouTube, just literally go out and shoot, even if it's vlogs or if you're someone that wants to create a media business or a brand, YouTube can be a portfolio. You can do like show reels, or for example, a shoot I do with someone will go on my YouTube, unless it's for them as well, it'll go on there. So for YouTube, you want to preferably shoot in a good quality as well. So I shoot everything in pretty much 4K. Go out, shoot, edit, upload, just do it. Like, try and be consistent at it. I'm trying to be more consistent, like this video today. Like, I've got a list now, we're in lockdown. I'm trying to push more YouTube because I've got the time for it as well. Hopefully that's kind of answered your question. Next question comes from Bilal88333. Bro, can you check out my recent picture and let me know what you think to improve on? I took this picture with an iPhone 7. So I'm going to put the picture of this on screen now. There you go. So I can see from your page that you've only ever took that picture of the car, like from that angle. So it's a good picture. It looks like you've got something at the bottom right hand corner that looks like some sort of trade. I don't know what that is. Colour grade's good. I like a bit of fade. Like, it's a good shot, but it's because it's the first ever picture you've taken of the car. You should have done a wide shot or done like swipes, unless you are planning to upload more. I would suggest putting your hashtags in your comments instead. I do like the grade on it, so Yeah, it's good. I like it. So next question comes from Charlotte. She says, what made you edit in the style you do? The way I edit at the minute is completely different to how I used to. Obviously, as you improve, as you kind of grow as a photographer, you kind of get your own sort of style. And when I first started editing, I didn't really have a style. I was still trying to find it. I never really looked at another photographer and thought, I want to edit just like that person, or I'm going to do that. It was more like, I don't want to do that because that person's already doing it. So if I can do something different to my pictures, that makes my style. A lot of my style of shooting in the past was still now, was really low shots, like really low to the ground. And then I started to adapt as people were like, oh, that's Lewis, like that's Lewis's sort of style. I started to change it and get a bit more creative, like shoot from trees and try and get different angles from cars and shoot in between things. So there's something in the foreground, like leaves, and then the car's the subject. So I'm trying to get more shots like that, if you can kind of tell from my grid. And if you go down, you see my style has slightly changed from really bright pictures to a bit more of a moody sort of look. I try to switch it up. I don't edit every picture exactly the same. I do make presets from different shoots that I've done, and I try to edit different just because the same sort of style of picture might get boring. Not for photographers. There's photographers out there that do the same style and it's sick, like absolutely love it. But I'll never say to them, oh, you should change your style, because that's arrogant. Coming from someone else, I just think that's an arrogant thing to say to another creator. Oh, you should change your style. Like, no, they shouldn't. Like, I don't get people that do that. Stop doing that. It's their style. If they want to shoot like that, like they're getting paid for that shoot. They're going to shoot like that regardless. So I appreciate so many photographers out there, and one thing that's helped me grow my style, this is a really long-winded answer, one thing that's helped my style is appreciating other photographers. So I do appreciate a lot of people's style, and if they do need help, I'm always willing to give my advice as best as I can for my style. But yeah, I am coming out with presets, by the way, for people that are just starting photography and they don't really know what to do in Lightroom, whether it's mobile or on desktop. I'm creating presets for that, so I'll be soon. So the next question comes from Adam. This guy's sick. You need to check his page out. BMX photographer, he shoots everything else as well. His question is, do you think it's important to shoot different genres of, I'm guessing, photography, or just stick to one: sports, portraits and landscapes? So as you can see from Adam's page, like, or I can see from your page, Adam, that you're like sick at BMX photography. Like your style of shooting is sick. Like, that's going to be obviously your main thing. Yes, it is very important to shoot, not very important, but it is important to shoot different genres of photography, because you can implement what you've learned from a car shoot or a wedding shoot into what you currently do. So you might get a little bit bored of what you always shoot. So it is very nice to kind of go out and like just take pictures on the holiday. Or when I went to Paris, I was taking so many pictures of buildings and stuff, and like it's very important to shoot different genres of like photography, because it's fun and like you kind of find your passion again, is what I'm looking for. So yeah, good question, man. Yeah, hopefully that's answered it. Gotta keep your fluids up. Next question comes from Dill, and he says, how did you get into the car scene for photography? Getting paid shoots to do car photography, and I love your content. Thank you very much, Dill. So I got into the car scene because growing up I was always into cars. It don't matter what, even when I didn't have a camera, like I was always into cars. So when I did get a camera, it was natural for me to want to shoot cars, and I would watch like car photographers on YouTube and obviously on Instagram and see all these pictures, and I'd want to create that and be like, my future goal, if I want to take my photography further from a hobby, would be to shoot cars for a living. That was always like my goal when I first started. Even when I had my 550D with a kit Canon lens 18 to 55, like so bad, but like that was just what I had at the time. And like even when I look back at the older pictures that are still bad in my eyes, like I was happy shooting. I was very happy to go out late at night and do a shoot for nothing, just because it was fun. I'd kind of progressed my media page and kind of my portfolio on Instagram to the point where I could start charging for shoots, where people would come to me and be like, Lewis, how much do you charge for a shoot? Like, I like the pictures that you did. And it just kind of progressed from there. And then every car shoot that I did, even to this day, I would do my very best to make that car shoot so impressive to not only the client that's paying for the shoot, but to other people to see the video and be like, that's a sick like shot, or I like Lewis Morris Media's style, I want to shoot like that. No one's going to pay you when you don't have anything to show. It just doesn't work like that. Like, you're not going to give someone money when you can't see what they do. It's like, I'm not going to go on a blind shoot date. But yeah, just do more shoots, get out there, do free shoots. It won't be for too long if you progress and you become good enough. You're already good enough now, but what I mean is you need a portfolio to prove it. Okay, so yeah, good question as well. The next question comes from one and only Hannah Ayres, and she says, "Why are you a sexy?"
Bus.
Shit.
Sorry, I didn't mean. So,
what was your question?
My question is, what would you tell your beginner self as a photographer? Like, what's the key thing you've taken? Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Tell yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd say just keep going, and but I did doubt the fact that I would ever get paid for a shoot.
Yeah.
So I think I would tell my beginner self as a photographer, like, just keep doing what you're doing, because it will work out. Learn more. But I was learning like every night anyway. So
yeah.
like, what I was doing as a photographer when I first started was like a good path to be on, if that makes sense. So I
guess it's kind of like one of them, all your mistakes you can now look back on and you know the difference of those.
Yeah.
And if you didn't make the cliche, if you didn't make them, then you wouldn't be able to learn.
Yeah, remember the lenses there.
Soz.
It's hard, isn't it? So basically the monitor is down here. I'll show you. So there's the monitor. It's on a stand and it's below the camera, and it's very hard to like forget that the lens is there and the monitor's there.
I'm not very good anyway, so it's just terrible.
So yeah, that was a good question actually.
Thanks, mate.
I think that might be the last one for now. So guys, that was the last question from the Hannah Ayres, and
glad to have a feature.
got your leggings.
They're nice, aren't they? Lululemon, shout out.
Right, you can go now because I need to do my outro. So the next video that's coming out is actually going to be a tutorial on how to remove things from your background of your pictures using Photoshop. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. See ya. Oh shit! You gave me a dead leg. Dead leg.